Everyone. Welcome. We will just give it a moment for more people to join. I hope you are having a great day. Please feel free to use the chat to let us know where you are zooming in from today. For those of you, if it's your first time joining us, thank you and welcome. I'm Ashanti Gholar. I am the president and CEO of Emerge, and so excited to deliver my mid-year presidential report to all of you. We have so many great things to talk about. I know we're going to have more people joining us, but with that, I am just going to go ahead and get us started. So again, welcome and thank you all for being here today. We really appreciate all the time you take to be here and everything that you do to support Emerge. We simply cannot do this work without our supporters like you. This year, we know that our country celebrates its 250th anniversary. And I've been thinking a lot about what has always moved America forward. We know our history has been marked by extraordinary progress, difficult setbacks, and generations of people who have fought to make our democracy stronger and more representative. For the past 21 years, Emerge has been a part of that story. We have trained more than 7,000 women to run for office, serve their communities, and lead with purpose because we know our democracy is stronger when leadership reflects the people it serves. Today, I want to spend some time with all of you talking about where we are at Emerge halfway through 2026, why this election matters so much, what we're seeing from our candidates across the country, and why I believe Emerge remains uniquely positioned to help Democrats compete, not just this November, but for years to come. 2026, we know, is going to be another defining election year. There are elections that determine who wins office, and then there are elections that shape the direction of the country. This is one of those years. We know that control of Congress is on the line, but just as importantly, so much of what impacts people's daily lives is now being decided in the states. State legislatures are determining everything from reproductive freedom and voting rights to public education and healthcare. At the same time, we're seeing illegal gerrymandering reshape the political landscape in ways that could have consequences long after 2026 is over. That means Democrats can't afford to focus on only a handful of races. We need great candidates running everywhere, at every level, in every kind of community, because that is how you build durable political power, but it's also how you create a sustaining legacy that will protect the people in our country. And that is what Merge exists to do. Our alums are everywhere. One of my favorite things about this job is being able to brag about the phenomenal women in our network. This year, we have more than 700 Emerge alums who are on the ballot across the country. They're running for Congress, statewide office, state legislatures, county commissions, city councils, school boards, and judgeships. Why? Because at Emerge, we train women to run for all levels of office. More of our numbers. We have 60 alums running for federal office, more than 25 running for statewide, nearly 400 are running for state legislatures, nearly 300 are competing for local office. And nearly half of those candidates are women of the new American majority. This is not accidental. It's the result of more than 2 decades of intentional recruiting, training, and supporting women who have often been overlooked by the traditional political pipelines. When people ask what investing in Emerge looks like, this is it. It looks like women stepping forward in communities all across the country because they had someone believe in them, invest in them, and prepare them to lead. One of the clearest examples of Emerge's long-term investment is what we've been able to build in Congress. Less than 10 years ago, Emerge did not have a single alum serving in Congress. I remember being political director and saying, I just want one. That would be so great. Now we have 13 members of the Emerge Congressional Caucus on the ballot this November up for reelection. But as you heard, that growth, it didn't happen overnight. Two members of the Emerge Congressional Caucus, Amelia Sykes in Ohio and Janelle Bynum in Oregon are defending highly competitive battleground districts that will be critical to Democrats' efforts to win back the House. At the same time, dozens of Emerge women are challenging Republican held seats across the country, demonstrating our pipeline isn't just about producing leaders today, it's building the next generation of members of Congress. Both Amelia and Janelle, they went through our program Seated Together, which we innovated to help Black women elected officials run for higher office. And having programs like this is very important. Helping women win their first race isn't enough, and we don't stop there at Emerge. We know we also have to prepare them for the next opportunity and continue supporting them as they grow into members of Congress and beyond. I'm especially proud that Seated Together has already produced 3 members of Congress. That is exactly what we hoped it would do. And this is why we continue investing in leadership development over the long term. This year, we know that our 13 alums will not only get reelected, but we're going to be able to expand the Emerge Congressional Caucus. Sarah Trongarian in Iowa, Joanna Mendoza in Arizona, Shannon Taylor in Virginia, Marnie Von Wilpert in California. These are red to blue targeted races that will play a real role in determining control of the House. What I love about these women is that they come from different backgrounds in different parts of the country, but they all represent something bigger than a single campaign. They represent years of investment in leadership. When someone supports Emerge, you're not simply helping one woman run for office. You're helping build the pipeline that produces candidates who are ready to compete in races like these when the moment arrives. That's the model that we've been building for more than 20 years. And today we're seeing it pay dividends across the country. Now, Congress is only one piece of the story. Some of the most consequential races this year are happening at the statewide level, where Emerge women are already shaping policy and preparing to lead their states. Today, 24 Emerge alums hold statewide office across the country. That's governors, lieutenant governors, attorneys general, secretaries of state. These are the leaders who are protecting voting rights, defending reproductive freedom, overseeing elections, and shaping policy for millions of people in the country. And that bench continues to grow. We have 3 outstanding candidates for governor. Katie Hobbs in Arizona is running for reelection. Deb Haaland is running to become the next governor of New Mexico. And Dodie Joseph is running for governor in Florida. We're also excited to have Molly Gray in Vermont and Sarah Galuski in Wisconsin on the ballot for lieutenant governor. At Emerge, we partner with the Democratic Attorneys General Association to get more women attorneys general in office. And we're so excited to have Andrea Campbell in Massachusetts and Charity Clark in Virginia and Vermont who are seeking reelection. And we have Nicole Canizaro from my home state of Nevada and the amazing Jenna Griswold in Colorado who are running to become their state's next chief legal officer. When we go to Secretary of State, we have incumbent Stephanie Thomas in Connecticut and Sarah Copeland Hanses in Vermont up for reelection. We have Amanda Lopez Askin in New Mexico, and we have Jocasta Zamarapia in Wisconsin who are running. These offices don't always receive the same attention as congressional races, but they have an enormous impact on people's lives and on the strength of our democracy. Whether they're administering elections, protecting consumers, defending civil rights, or leading entire states, Emerge women are stepping into these roles prepared to lead on day one. When we go down, we know that state legislatures matter more than ever. This is one of the lessons that we have learned over the last several years. We cannot underestimate the importance of state houses. We have seen legislatures become the battleground for so many issues, from reproductive freedom to fair maps now, and also helping protect Democratic majorities. And increasingly, we've seen decisions that once seemed settled at the federal level, they are now being pushed down to the states. This is why Emerge has invested so heavily in building Democratic leadership in state legislatures. Earlier this year, I know many of you joined us when we hosted our Redistricting Crisis in the South event because we wanted to shine a light on what was happening as states considered new congressional maps and the implications those decisions would have for representation, not only in those states, but across the country. That conversation reinforced something we have known for a long time. Winning state legislative seats, it's not just about that one state. It is truly about protecting democracy nationally. And that is exactly where our candidates are making an impact. Let's dive a little bit into the opportunities that we have to create some flips. When we're talking about building democratic power, this is what it looks like here. In Arizona, Democrats have a real opportunity to flip both legislative chambers and emerge as 8 women on the ballot, helping make that possible. Let's go to Wisconsin. We have 13 candidates competing in races that could determine control of both chambers of the legislature. We always have a fight on our hands in Michigan, and our candidates are helping Democrats fight back to win the House while defending the Senate. And when we go to Pennsylvania, where every seat matters, we have 19 emerged women running as Democrats, working to protect the House majority and compete for the Senate. These are not random races. They are targeted opportunities where trained candidates have an outsized impact. Candidates do not just wake up one day prepared to run in these highly competitive districts. They need recruiting, training, community, and mentorship. That is the infrastructure that our MERS provides. And it's why we're able to compete in these critical states year after year and make the impact that we do. Because at the end of the day, our alums are helping shape some of the best policy in this country. And I love being able to see emerged women govern together. In states like Nevada and New Mexico, emerged women make up a third or more of one legislative chamber. And in Virginia, where I currently reside, nearly 1/4 of the House of Delegates are emerged alums. Those aren't just impressive numbers. They represent communities of leaders who know one another, they support one another, and work together to move legislation and improve the lives of the people they serve. In Virginia, for example, our alum, Governor Abigail Spanberger, recently signed legislation protecting and expanding access to contraception, a reminder that elections have real consequences for people's lives. This has always been our goal, not simply electing women who govern effectively, who strengthen their communities, and who demonstrate what's possible when more women have a seat at the table. Everything we talked about so far, the candidates, the races, the wins, and the policy impact, it starts in the same place. It all starts with training. And that's where I want to turn to next, because the changes we made over the past year are allowing Merge to reach more women than we have than ever before. At our core, the team here at Emerge, we wake up every day and we focus on creating a strong, ready, growing pipeline. And that is why this year Emerge made the decision to move to a multi-state staffing model. We did that because this moment requires us to reach more women in more places with more consistency than ever before. We're continuing our on-the-ground trainings in all of our existing states. That is important. We are not walking away from the work that we have done over the past 20 years. But what this new model allows us to do is something that we have wanted to do for a long time: build a stronger and more sustainable organization by having our team focus on what matters most: recruiting, training, and supporting women leaders. And we are already seeing what this change makes possible. Some of the great women that we have been able to reach this year include Councilwoman Mary Allen from Evansville, Indiana. She's a veteran, a small business owner, and she's running for Congress this fall to flip Indiana's 8th congressional district blue. In Delaware, we trained Adriana Lima Bohm. She's a union member, teacher, community organizer, and daughter of an immigrant. She is now running for the state Senate in District 1. Going over to Florida, Sonia Azim is a lifelong educator, and she is running for the Broward County School Board because she wants to improve the system for all students. And in January, I got to attend the very first graduation of our North Carolina class that we had through a partnership with the Black Women's Leadership Collective. This class brought us some extraordinary Black women from across the state, several of whom are already running for office this year, including Lakeisha Womack, who's running for Congress in the 14th District, Janine Ackles, and Valeria Levy, who are both running for the State House. So for those of you who have been on this journey with us, you know that this has been one of our goals for years: to make Emerge training and the Emerge network accessible to women no matter where they live. And now we finally can. This is how we scale what works. This is how we build a truly national pipeline. And this is how we make sure women are ready to step up, not just in the states where Emerge has traditionally had a presence, but everywhere Democrats need strong candidates. So, one of the things that we continue to know is that what we do at Emerge works. We're not just encouraging women to run for office, we're preparing them to win. Over the past 2 decades, we built and refined a model that works. We created the nation's largest network of women candidates and elected officials by giving women the training, the community, and the support, not just to launch campaigns, but to run competitive races and serve effectively once they're elected. These results speak for themselves. Over the past 5 years, our candidates have maintained an average win rate of 70%. First-time Emerge candidates are nearly 6 times more likely than candidates who haven't gone through our Emerge training. They are more likely to win. And once our women are elected, they continue to succeed. Our incumbents have a re-election rate of 95 to 97%. Perhaps just as importantly, the demand for our work continues to grow. Last year, interest in Emerge increased by 157%, and that momentum has continued into 2026. When I'm doing press, a question I get all the time is, are women still interested in running? And I tell them, yes, absolutely. We are very, very busy here at Emerge because women are stepping forward because they want to serve their communities, and they're looking for an organization that will prepare them for the realities of running for office. That's what we provide. A few of our trainings. We have our signature training, which remains the gold standard for Democratic women running for office. 6 month, 70-hour training program designed specifically to prepare women to run and win. Our boot camps are designed for women who are actively on the ballot but haven't had any training and want to do an Emerge training. We have one of our new programs, Meeting the Moment, which is giving women practical tools to channel their frustration in this current moment into civic engagement and action in the political space. School Board Ready prepares women for one of the most important and increasingly demanding offices in local government. Gavel In recognizes that our courts shape so many of the issues we care about and prepares women to run for judicial office because the road to the Supreme Court does start at the state and local level. And of course, Seated Together continues to prepare Black women elected officials for higher office. And Leaders Emerge, which introduces emerging leaders to civic engagement and public service, creating an even stronger pipeline for the future. And this is not even the full slate of the trainings that we offer. It's just a portion of the work that the Emerge team does every day to support women who want to step up and run for office and step into leadership. Each of these programs was designed to meet women where they are and give them the tools to take the next step in their leadership journey. As we look ahead to November, one thing is clear. When you look across everything that we talked about today, you can see that Emerge isn't simply responding to this political moment, we're helping shape it. We're competing for control of Congress. We're helping Democrats compete for majorities in state legislatures where so many of the most important decisions are being made. We're electing more women of the new American majority because our democracy is strongest when our leadership reflects the people it serves. And while we're focused on winning in 2026, we're always building for what comes next. Because Emerge is not an organization that just works from election cycle to election cycle. In 2020, we launched Emerge 2035, a bold 15-year vision, because we know that when we invest in women for the long haul, we're building the next generation of Democratic leaders. The women who will run for office in 2027, 2028, and beyond, they are already in our training programs, building their skills and becoming a part of the Emerge network. That's what makes us different as an organization. We're not cycle to cycle. We're building the leaders who will shape the next 250 years of the United States of America. So, what are some of the ways that you can get involved? You see that our work is making a difference. More women are running, more women are winning, and more women are stepping forward to lead. I'm going to say that 700 number again. More than 700 Emerge women are on the ballot across the country this year, and we're ready to help them win. But the team and I know none of this happens without you. There are a few simple ways you can make a difference. First, help us recruit. We know that there are talented women in every community who have never been asked to run. Help us find and encourage them to take that first step. Second, apply to an Emerge program. Whether you're thinking about school board, city council, the state legislature, or even Congress, we can help you take that first step with Emerge. And third, we want you to help spread the word. Introduce someone in your network to Emerge. Follow us on social media and share our work with friends and family. Every new supporter helps us reach more women and build a stronger movement. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to the amazing Cecilia from our team, who will talk more about our Club Emerge Sustainer program. Over to you, Cecilia.
Thank you, Ashanti. Hi, everyone. My name is Cecilia, and I am the manager for grassroots and development support, and I run our amazing Club Emerge program. So, for those of you who are unfamiliar, Club Emerge is a community of monthly sustaining donors to Emerge. And these donors, Club Emerge members, are vital to our organization, standing alongside Emerge in our mission of training Democratic women and getting them elected to all levels of office. And so that's why today I'm asking you all to join Club Emerge. The work of recruiting, training, and supporting Democratic women leaders doesn't happen only during election season. It actually happens every single day of the year, and that is why Club Emerge members, our sustainers, are so vital to Emerge's mission. So whether you give $5 a month or $50 a month, every recurring gift helps us recruit more women, train stronger candidates, and expand our reach and continue building the next generation of Democratic leaders. This year, our goal is to work towards 250 Club Emerge members. So if everyone on today's call joined Club Emerge at any level, we'd welcome about 50 new sustaining donors in a single afternoon, bringing us that much closer to our goal and providing reliable support for women leaders all year long. Thank you very much. Back to you, Ashanti.
Thank you so much, Cecilia. You're just an amazing member of the team and you do such great work. So, before I hand it over to our very, very special guest, I cannot wait for you all to hear from her. I do want to leave you with one final thought. Emerge has never been about a single election. It's never been about a single candidate. It's always been about changing who leads our country. 21 years ago, our founders believed there should be a better pathway for Democratic women to seek public office. Today, more than 7,000 women have come through that pathway. More than 1,200 are serving in elected office. Hundreds more are on the ballot this year. And thousands more are waiting for someone to tell them they belong in public and elected leadership. That's the work that all of us are building together. So thank you for believing in this mission. Thank you for investing in these women. And thank you for helping us build the next generation of leaders. Together, we're not just changing elections, we're changing who leads our country. And speaking of those leaders, I am just so excited to welcome the wonderful Dr. Annie Andrews today. So I know a lot of you have been hearing her name recently because she is the Democratic nominee for Senate in South Carolina. She is an Emerge alum, a pediatrician, a mom. She has spent her career caring for children and families. And now she's taking that same commitment to public service to the campaign trail. It has been just so special for us here at Emerge to be a small part of her journey. And we are very excited to have her here today to give us an update on her race and what is happening. And if you do have a question for her, you can go ahead and put that in the chat box. And hopefully we will have time to get to some questions. So I could brag on and on about Annie. I just love her. She's become a friend and we need you all to help support her so we can get her in the United States Senate. She'll represent South Carolina well, but deep down in my heart, she's going to be a fighter for all of us. So over to you, Annie.
Thank you so much, Ashanti. I'm so happy to be here with you all today. Grateful to call you a friend. I'm so grateful for Emerge, for being there when I decided to take that big leap into running for office back in 2022. I'd love to share a little bit more about my backstory, and then I do want to share about the updates and all the recent developments in my race and some reflections I've had on what it means to be a woman leader in a moment like this. So, as Ashanti said, I am a pediatrician. I've worked in children's hospitals for my entire 20-year career. I'm a mom of three school-aged children. I never planned a career in politics. I consider myself to be a pragmatic problem solver and a public servant. And I don't want to be a career politician, but it was my experience working in a children's hospital for the first 15 years of my career that helped me understand the link between policies coming from failing politicians and the harms my patients and their families were facing. Day after day, when I would go to work at the children's hospital, I would meet families who were struggling to put food on the table. I would diagnose kids with chronic diseases like asthma and diabetes. And while I was prescribing a treatment plan, the parents would have to say, well, how much is that inhaler going to cost? Or how much is that insulin going to cost? I have cared for countless children in the throes of mental health crises whose families could not find mental health resources in their community. In every single children's hospital in this country tonight, there will be kids who spend the night in their hospital room alone because their parents have to leave their sick child's bedside to go work their third shift job just to make ends meet. And every pediatrician in this country has unfortunately cared for children with bullet holes in them. So, after 15 years of witnessing systemic policy failures harming our kids, I decided to get involved in advocacy. But the more conversations I had with elected lawmakers here in South Carolina, predominantly male lawmakers, the more frustrated I grew. It became very clear to me that we need better representation in all rooms where decisions are made. We need women representing us. We need mothers representing us. We need healthcare professionals representing us. We need people who inherently care about the future for all children in this country representing us. So I decided to raise my hand and get involved back in 2021 when I launched my campaign for Congress in South Carolina's first district. I ran a race against Nancy Mace. I'm proud of the race that we ran. I did not win, but more importantly, I'm proud of the fact that I didn't go away because when women get off the sidelines, it's not about ego. It's not about some desire to have the title of congresswoman or the title of senator. It's about wanting to roll up your sleeves and actually help your community. That didn't change for me, even though I lost that election. So I stayed involved. I stayed in South Carolina fighting for our kids and families every day. And about 14 months ago, I decided to run for the US Senate because, in the wake of Donald Trump's reelection, as I looked around and I witnessed the urgency of this moment, particularly on the day that RFK Jr. was nominated to lead HHS, I knew, regardless of the fact that it doesn't make a lot of objective sense for me, a very busy mom of three school-aged children and a pediatrician who loves her career, to run for statewide federal office. But I knew that this moment was so urgent. And if I didn't run now, there might not be a chance down the road to fix these problems our country is facing. Decided to get in this race. I've been in this race for 14 months. I'm really proud to report that our team has raised nearly $11 million already. Our average donation is $26. I don't take corporate PAC money, and we are building a real people-powered movement here in South Carolina. Here in South Carolina, where people are ready for change. They're ready for something different out of Washington, D.C. On both sides of the aisle, they see that the system is broken, and they're looking for authentic leaders who are willing to raise their hands and step up and solve these problems. And that's exactly what we're doing on my campaign. As you all are very well aware, everything in my race changed over the weekend. I think it's important to say that this was a reminder to me that life is bigger than politics, that life is fragile and fleeting, and we all need to do everything we can to do this important work that we all do every day to fight for this democracy. But we also need to love our loved ones, hug our loved ones, tell people we love them, and remember that life is fleeting. But what happened this weekend did not change the problems South Carolinians are facing. It did not change my motivations to get off the sidelines. And what I've learned over the past several days is that me and the team that I have built around me, we're ready for this moment. We are ready to lead South Carolina in this uncharted territory, and we are prepared to win in November. We had polling from a few weeks ago that showed some really important things about me, that I was overperforming a generic Democrat with really important voting blocks like non-MAGA Republicans and independents by double digits. Already 1 in 5 center-right Republicans were planning to vote for me. So we're going to continue to build this people-powered grassroots movement all across the state of South Carolina. And I am so confident and excited about the opportunity to serve in the U.S. Senate as South Carolina's next U.S. Senator. I will be the first woman doctor in the Senate. I will be the first pediatrician senator. And one of the things that was said about me a few weeks ago was that people don't know what I believe in. And I think it's important for candidates running for office at any level to not just run against something or someone, but to talk about what it is we believe in. So, in summary, I believe that healthcare is a human right. I believe we need to fully fund the Medicaid program. I believe we need to protect Medicare and Social Security. I believe we need to fully fund the CDC and the NIH and do everything in our power to impeach and remove RFK Jr. I believe we need leaders who are willing to address America's cost of living emergency by raising the federal minimum wage, by stopping the unconstitutional on again, off again tariffs, and by working to pass an expanded, fully refundable permanent child tax credit. I believe we need leaders who are willing to take hard votes to root out the corruption that is degrading American democracy. I believe we need to ban partisan gerrymandering. I believe we need to pass term limits. We need to ban members of Congress from trading stock and from becoming lobbyists. And we need to do everything we can to get dark money out of politics by ending Citizens United. I also believe we need to stop endless unnecessary wars overseas and instead turn that attention and resources into supporting America's active duty service members, military families, and veterans. I believe with every cell in my body that women need to have the right to make reproductive healthcare decisions about their own bodies. And if you can't pass a pop quiz about women's reproductive anatomy, you shouldn't have anything to do with the process of writing laws about what any woman does with any part of her body. I believe we need to take bold action to address climate change, which is the greatest existential crisis future generations face. And I believe as long as gun violence remains the leading cause of death for kids in this country, we all need to wake up every day and fight with everything we have to pass the common sense gun laws that the vast majority of Americans want to see passed, starting with universal background checks. And most importantly, I believe that we are going to win in South Carolina in November. And I am so grateful that Emerge was there when I decided to take this big leap. I'm grateful for the network of support I have in any state I travel to, in any part of South Carolina. When I tell folks I'm an Emerge alum, it is an immediate positive response and a welcoming response. And I'm so grateful for the leadership of Ashanti and everyone else at the Emerge organization for providing women like me with the tools that we need to lead. There's been a lot of headlines about different Senate races across this country over the past couple of weeks. And one of the lessons that I have taken from that, it is time for more women leaders in this country. It is time for women who can lead with grace and consistency and class to step up and lead, and we cannot do it without the help of organizations like Emerge. So thank you all for your support of Emerge. I wouldn't be running for the Senate without Emerge, and I'm just so happy to be here with you all today, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Annie. I hope you saw all the love that you were getting with the hearts and the applause. And there were so many great things that Annie said. But what I want to focus on is I know there's majority women on this call, and we know the decisions that they are making about our health. And there's no woman in the Senate who's a doctor who can actually say, I know women's anatomy. I
Mhm.
know what's actually happening. And how lucky will all of us be to have Annie in the Senate? So if you do have a question, please put it in the chat. I do want to read out this comment from the amazing Lisa Kelly, who has been a longtime, unwavering supporter of Emerge and our alums. She says, I have no connection to South Carolina, but sent you a gift in support the other day. We need you in the United States Senate. So, yes, we absolutely do.
Well, thank you, Lisa.
I will give it a moment in case there are any questions. I know we also have some great people from South Carolina. who are joining us today because they wanted to hear from you as well. And, Annie, can you just tell us a little bit more about what the first 24 hours was like after that news broke? I think a lot of us woke up on Sunday, and that is really not what we were expecting, but it definitely was a shift. And after that, we do have this question from Sonia. Thank you. I think this is a great question because we
Mhm.
know if you want to get something done, give it to a busy woman. So she wants, or I don't know if it's Sonia or Sonia. Sorry, I don't like pronouncing people's names wrong. But she says, how do you manage your time, work, kids, and politics?
I'll answer that one first.
Yeah.
I have, as any woman who runs for office does, I have an incredible village of people behind me, supporting me, allowing me to be this busy working mom of three very busy school-age children and a candidate for the US Senate. I resigned my clinical position at the Children's Hospital I was working at the end of June so that I could focus full time on the campaign. I was already working just a handful of shifts a month, but I have taken that off my plate because this race deserves someone who can give it their undivided attention. I have amazing help with my three amazing children who I have to brag. They all got straight A's this year. People ask how they're adjusting. They are doing great. They're doing great in all their extracurricular activities. They're actually all three at Sleepaway Summer Camp right now, which the timing could not have been better with what has happened on my race. But I have an incredible nanny. My parents live down the street from me. All of my mom friends pitch in and help. The carpools that drive my children around, I never participate in, but people are just happy to help because they know I'm sacrificing so much time with my kids to fight this fight on behalf of them. So I think that's what happens when women lead. When I was running for Congress, one of my friends started a meal train for me for the last month. So I would have hot meals delivered to my door to feed my family. And I'm guessing that no male candidate has ever had that because that's men don't think to do those things to support each other. And that's the beauty of having a village full of incredible women behind me. The first 24 hours on Sunday, I mean, I still haven't quite recovered. I actually think I'm crashing a little bit today after all of the adrenaline attention. I've talked to so many reporters since Sunday, but like everybody, I woke up to the news. Actually, I woke up at 6:30. I slept through 3 hours of my team working diligently behind the scenes to figure out what was happening and how we needed to respond. I'm grateful I slept those extra 3 hours because it's been nonstop since then. But as you all know, especially for running for office at this level, I have an incredibly amazing professional team behind me helping us navigate these really uncharted waters. Outpourings of support from my friends, my family, my donors came in immediately on Sunday. A lot of positive responses to our statements on social media. And really, just now more than ever, I'm feeling like so supported by people all across the country, particularly by women all across the country. People see me now in this fight that is so important and really just became that much more important. And they're doing everything they can to support me. And it's been a really rough few days, but I feel so incredibly supported by people like Ashanti and everyone else who's on this team that's helping me flip this seat.
I love it. And one more question, and we will let you go because we definitely want you to rest. We know you're going to win, but we know you need your rest, especially over these past few days. We do have a question from Susan Reardon, who I know we both love so
Mhm.
much. And she would just like to know, just a little bit about how your campaign will change now that your opponent is no longer Senator Graham. And I know one of the things that I've been saying to people is I have a motto at Emerge with our work is we stay ready so we don't have to get ready. And I've
Mhm.
been telling people that's Annie. She's ready. She is ready to go, but would love
Yeah.
to hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah, and that's how I feel in this moment that I was, everything I've done, the candidate training that I've done, the race I ran before, the race I've run for the past year prepared me for this moment. I was ready for the increased media attention, the increased attention from donors all across the country to navigate this, to thread this needle. And what I've told reporters is that, my mission hasn't changed. Some of the words that are coming out of my mouth are changing, but not about what I will fight for. And being in this unique position of not having a an opponent. And to be clear, I very likely won't have an opponent until August 25th because there's going to be a lot of Republicans in South Carolina who file to run for the Republican nomination. That election will be on August 11th. And if no one gets more than 50% of the vote, there will be a runoff on August 25th. And with 4, 5, 6 Republicans in the race, it is very unlikely someone will win it outright on the 11th. So that provides me as a candidate an opportunity to really shift my talking points, not attacking someone's record, but really talking about what kind of leader I will be and what I will fight for. And I welcome that opportunity because as a non-traditional politician, I would much rather talk about my vision for the future, my vision for South Carolina. And I think this is going to afford me the opportunity to do that. Also, those of you who are in South Carolina know who some of these players are who are raising their hand to run. And it's going to be a knockdown, drag out, ugly race to the bottom on the Republican side for the next 4 to 6 weeks. And that also provides me an opportunity to just be a steady voice of reason throughout this for people in South Carolina. I'll be speaking to, my Democratic supporters, but also independents and Republicans and offering them an alternative to what we're about to witness in this Republican primary.
We will be watching, paying attention, rooting you on. Annie, thank you so much. Everyone, we did put the link to her website in the chat, so you can go there, learn more about her, spread the word, send it to other people. I just did a direct to camera video talking about Annie and why we need to support her. So you can go to Emerge's Instagram page at Emerge America. Please uplift that because, like I said, we have our candidate and you see how strong she is. And even before this shift, we knew that she could win. So let's make sure that she does. Annie, thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much for having me.
Everyone, thank you so much for being here. The team and I truly appreciate everything that you do to help support us. When I was going through the chat, I saw our board members, advisory board members, longtime supporters, and also new people. As you can see, your investment goes really far. So please, if you haven't yet, join Club Emerge, become one of our amazing donors so we can help get more women like Dr. Annie Andrews in office. Thank you all so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.